Emma, which one is this trunk? Tomorrow for the trunk, Emma. Tomorrow for the trunk, we add the.
Hi everyone, we're just gonna wait one more minute to begin. We have Sabrina here with us. I see some parents joining. We're gonna wait another 2 minutes and then we'll begin.
So different.
I feel like I would like to meditate at this moment before the program starts for everyone. Can do a 1-minute meditation here. Okay, sweetie, go, papito, go to bed. Lie down, bend down.
He said lie down.
Go, sweetie. You're good. Okay, go, Shin. Okay.
All right, welcome everybody. Can everyone hear me?
Okay, Shimon.
All right, we're so happy to see everyone here. Sabrina, thank you for being with us tonight.
Of course, my pleasure.
Um,
We made it.
we did it. After all that, it's happening, and I'm so happy. And I just want to welcome all of you to the Mind, Body, and Soul Parenting Series. We're very excited about this. And according to the Torah, really, the goal of creation is not just spiritual, but really it's all about the relationship between the physical and the spiritual and merging into one. So when we were deciding to do this parenting series, we thought this would be the perfect class encompassing not just the body, but also the mind and soul. So we're really excited for this series. Sabrina, thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Sure, my pleasure.
The Baal Shem Tov says that a small hole in the body is a big hole in the soul, which basically means that in order to really nourish our soul, our neshama, our child's neshama, we need to first meet our maximum health and be fully functioning. And when the Baal Shem Tov also became revealed as a very holy person, he was the first first Hasidic Rebbe. He was, of course, there to help spiritually people connect to Hashem. But something that he really put a focus on, and it made a big point, was also trying to help Jewish people materially, creating funds to support people that were struggling financially, needed food, or whatever it was that they were struggling. Maybe they needed a wedding so that they could also focus on their spirituality. But first comes a physical aspect. So we're really excited to bring you this series of mind, body, and soul, and to explore the different elements of the development of our child. So we know that for a child's optimal upbringing, we have to focus not just on the information and the reading and the writing and the skills that they learn. Of course, that's important, all these things that they're learning at school. But also we have to take a step back and look at the different aspects of our children, their physical, emotional, spiritual well-being. So that's why we wanted to open the conversation tonight and bring attention to other areas that also take a big part in raising our children. And honestly, for me, it wasn't until I met Sabrina that I realized the power of emotional, spiritual health and the impact that it had on my soul and on my body and the way that I was functioning and the way that I was showing up for Shmuel in my life and just having much more energy or being in tune with his tantrums or how he's feeling and seeing how food really has such an impact on his development. So Sabrina is here with us tonight, Sabrina Balter, and she's been a nutrition and fitness consultant in Beverly Hills and surrounding cities for about 30 years. And she believes also in a very holistic approach, which is very aligned with our school philosophy of food first, client-centered approach to nutrition, which she's helped so many clients lose weight, live a healthier, happier life. And Sabrina also has a lot of experience in weight loss, pre-diabetes, kidney disease, pregnancy, lactation, and more. So she has so much experience. I know she's also like the head of Cedar Sinai Health Department, but I think through all her experience, it's led her to really be able to give a really wholesome approach to just health and nutrition and lifestyle. So, I mean, she's completed her undergraduate in nutrition from Pepperdine University, her degree in fitness instruction and sports medicine from University of California, and the list goes on and on. But we are so happy to have you here with us tonight, and
Happy to be
hear what you
here.
have to share.
Yeah, of course. I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited because we're talking about the next generation, and
I wanna see our next generation become so much stronger, because it's a time that we need our physical and spiritual to bind together, because we want to serve Hashem in a much more powered way. And it all starts by combining the spiritual and the physical together, because the physical is our tool to our spiritual. So when the physical is healthier, the spiritual also works much better. So it's a hand and it's a combination of both that is very important to be working together. It's your tool in this life. So, you know, training and making sure the next generation is really healthy and you can manage them better, because when they're eating much better and they're doing much better, it's much easier on us to manage the household. But if they're not eating well, they're not sleeping, but they have tantrums, we can't manage their behaviors, then we're wiped. And we cannot be fully present in our own life and in the life of our children. So, you know, as I was thinking about what I want to really do is I want to first like put a groundwork of, you know, what children need, like just the basic understanding of the nutrition of what they need and what kind of foods that would be. And then the effects of making choices. And then I want to open it up to any questions that come up after I finish. So it's I put together a short slide show to go through all the things that the kids need for their health and maintenance, and then I'm going to end it with questions. So I'm going to share my screen here right now. Let me see. Oh, can you allow me to share my screen, Moshki?
Yes, sure. There we go.
Okay, let's see. Perfect. All right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. All right. So what is food to you? Basically, we really consume food because we need the nutrition. It serves also as pleasure for us. It's a way we bond with people around us, our children. It's an activity when we allow our children to participate in the kitchen and prepare food with us. It also serves as a social, you know, concept for our society. We eat together, we go out for food, we taste different kinds of food. So it's a social activity. And it can be very creative. I think people love showing how they prepare food on Instagram and TikTok. I think it's very popular to see what other ways we can prepare our food. And of course, religious observance, you know, using food for the holidays and for Shabbat and many other occasions. So food has many different meanings. It's not just, you know, for nutritional purposes. And everyone has different idea how, you know, an overall health should look like. Some people, they think it's only food. Some people think it's only, you know, exercise. Some people look at food for health purposes. And of course, we have many different varieties of ways people eat that is a vehicle to their health. And, you know, we know that nutrition is an essential part of the growth and development to our children. We want to make sure their immune function is working well. We want to make sure we're providing foods that affects their behavior and their mood properly. And we want to also give them lessons for being healthy for the rest of their life. So our decisions really impact their future on a daily basis. So the idea is to basically provide a balanced, nutritious diet for their growth, for their development, and for their well-being. And these habits should be positive, and we have to create a positive relationship for our kids with food. So I'm going to go over like the basics of the food groups that we want to make sure that our kids have on a daily basis, which is carbohydrates. That's brown rice, fruits have carbohydrates, potatoes, vegetables have carbohydrates, and grains. We want to make sure kids have plenty of protein because they're growing very fast. So proteins, meat, fish, egg, any sort of proteins are excellent. Good fats and cheese, milk, fat in avocados. And of course, all sorts of vitamins and minerals that are present in leafy green and seasonal foods. And all of those are important if it's a possibility to try to find clean ingredients in all of those food groups. What I mean by clean ingredients, meaning like non-GMO products, not genetically modified products, are very important for the growth of the children to make sure they're not part of this protocol of all of these food groups. Okay. Okay. For brain and behavior, these are the most important vitamins, which are omega-3 fatty acids, iron, zinc, and vitamin B12. I mean, it's amazing sometimes when I see some of my clients and sometimes they happen to bring their children with, I look at them and I say, oh, I think these are some of the vitamins your kids need to incorporate. Just looking at their behaviors and seeing how, how they can manage, I would say, their frustrations or their angers or how they can transition easily from one subject to another. And these are some of the things that can really help. Having good fats in the diet and iron, zinc, and B12 really makes a big difference in children. All right. We want to make sure that all those categories are met because,
Sabrina, I have a question.
Sure, of course.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
Do you want us to keep questions to the end, or can I ask you?
I think it would be better if we can do it at the end. If you don't
Okay.
mind, you want to take a note from what you want to ask me, so then we can answer all the questions at the end. Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah, no problem.
That'd be great. Okay. So, of course, we know proteins then are really important for children because they're growing constantly and their muscles and tissues are developing. Calcium and vitamin D. It's amazing. I have seen kids that are vitamin D deficient, and if we add vitamin D to their diet, they just become a whole different kid because vitamin D does so many different things in the body, from central nervous system control to calmness, to when a kid is calm, they try all different sorts of foods. So making sure that the kids have a variety of diet and all the vitamins and nutrients are met for them. You can see a tremendous difference from transitioning to controlling their behaviors. Of course, we want to make sure that their immune system is functioning well, especially during this cold season where, kids are catching colds from each other. So making sure that the vitamin D is high and also all the other, especially protein, broth, soups, things of that sort are very important in the cold season to make sure kids that are catching colds are transitioning and becoming stronger from, each time a child catches a cold, their immune system is being exercised. So, and their immune system is getting stronger. So our job as parents is to help them overcome that cold or cough or ear infection or whatever else is coming their way. And once they surpass that with good food and good nutrition, their immune system becomes much stronger. All right. So here, this is also another part that parents always ask me, behavior and mood. We have looked through so many research and we know that diets that are high in foods that are really processed and have food coloring really affects children's behavior and their mood swings. And what I have experienced with parents, that a lot of the lunches that I remember my kids when they were younger going to school, is a lot of packaged foods in the lunch bags, and too many snacks also. So if kids are eating a lot of processed foods and too many snacks, they actually will not be eating their proper lunch or their proper dinner. So I think it's important to consider when we're preparing lunches for our children, you know, to provide snacks that are not so processed and they're not so, they don't fill them up. So they have room to eat a good lunch or a good dinner. And of course, we know that long-term habits are very important because they will definitely have long-lasting effects on the health of your children as adults. And they will prevent them from obesity and heart disease and diabetes and, of course, chronic conditions. So I'm going to quickly go over examples of what is important for them and food groups, really. Vitamin A, of course, for cell growth and immune function, and eggs, sweet potato, carrots, milk, apricots, cantaloupe, spinach, red peppers. Vitamin D, and mushrooms, eggs, sardines, liver, salmon, and cheese. But sometimes, you know, with vitamin D, it's a fat soluble vitamin, and we cannot really build it enough till we get to the winter season. So I usually, beside the food, I recommend parents to be dosing on vitamin D, specifically the vitamin D that is called cholecalciferol, which is the D3 vitamin, to do drops. If your kids don't like to take vitamins, you can buy the drops and put it in their, I don't know, water, or if you make them a smoothie, inside the smoothie, and it will bring their immune system up till summer comes and they can build it in the sun, because in the winter we don't get any sunshine. Vitamin E, of course, for
Sorry. Can I ask you to show the vitamin A slide one more time?
the D.
The one before that?
Oh,
Yeah.
the A.
Yeah, just to see. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. And then we have the vitamin D, of course, we talked about that. And one more important thing is vitamin D also helps with calcium absorption, which the kids really need for, you know, their bone structure and growth. The other important vitamin is vitamin E, which is a powerful antioxidant, and it protects the cells from damage. And we have here sunflower seeds, like, for example, putting sunflower seeds, you know, in a smoothie, or putting it in a muffin that you make, or, you know, almonds. There's a good, actually, a nut mix, which I like a lot. It's called Nutso. It has all different kinds of nuts and seeds, and it's all organic. And that's a wonderful, like, you can make sandwiches with it. It doesn't have peanuts in there. And, or, you know, put it in the celery as a nice, the old-fashioned thing, ant on a log. Yeah, I remember growing up with that. So that's a good one to use. So incorporating a lot of, like, the seeds are also really wonderful as part of the.
Don't care.
Sabrina, sorry, I just muted everybody, just so we could hear you better, but if you could unmute yourself. There we go. Thanks so much.
All right. And leafy greens, of course, beets and collard greens and pumpkins. Those are important. I'm sure a lot of you are looking at these names and you're like, my kids don't eat any of these vegetables or any of those things. And I think one of the important things to remember is in order to be able to incorporate these things, you have to really get your kids involved in the process of food. And what do I mean by that? It's like, when spring comes, if you live and you have a backyard, planting, if you have a balcony, getting a planter and planting seeds so the kids, or even in preschool, maybe you guys can, I don't know if you guys have an area where you can actually plant seeds and have the kids water them so they can really understand how that works. And then they'll be more enthusiastic in, eating a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. Another way of incorporating all these wonderful things is taking them to the farmers market and having them pick and choose, because you really can't go wrong in farmers market. Most farmers market, all you see is fresh fruits and vegetables, and they can, they see you shopping, and the farmers are always wonderful giving samples out to the kids, and they can try different things and they'll be more enthusiastic in using them. Another wonderful vitamin that is important for the kids are vitamin K, which is essential for blood clotting and bone metabolism and bone mineralization and growth. Of course, green leafy, collard, turnip, greens, kale, spinach, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, lettuce. Beef liver. I mean, I grew up eating beef liver, chicken liver. I think these days it's kind of like not a lot of people do that, but it's very nutritious, of course. Chicken, cilantro, kiwi. These are some examples of the things that have vitamin K. I mean, even like making kale chips with the kids, cutting them up and putting them in the oven and, adding either Parmesan cheese to them or nutritional yeast and baking them in the oven and having them try them. It's a fun activity for them to do. Vitamin C, very important for, of course, collagen production, for healing, and for development of connective tissue. It also, of course, supports the immune system and allows the iron to be absorbed much better, either in animal protein or plant-based. And of course, examples of those are orange, grapefruits, lemon, lime, tangerines, berries, strawberries. Most kids love all of these things: raspberries, blackberries, pineapple, mango, and papaya. And lastly, B complex. I think B complex are really important for the development of the brain and the central nervous system. I've used many of these combinations for children who have challenges with settling down or focusing or being open to trying different foods. B vitamins are really important for kids, and it helps them have more energy so they're not crashing. And this is the protocol, like B1, which is the thiamine, whole grains, brown rice, barley, oats, legumes. All the bean families have a lot of B1 vitamin. And B2, dairy products. I always recommend for parents to buy organic, dairy products, which are very important. Organic eggs or pasture-raised eggs are wonderful. Lean meat, if it's a possibility to, buy anything that is grass-fed, that would be even better. Of course, leafy greens and vegetables, and B3, which is again it's in animal proteins and the grains. B5, which is the same thing as B3, avocado, mushrooms. B6, which is really very good for regulating moods in children. You can find them in banana, sunflower seeds, and potatoes. B7, which is biotin, egg yolks, nuts, sweet potatoes, whole grain. B9, folate or folic acid, which is leafy greens, legumes, avocados, and citruses. And B12, I like very much the combination of the B6 and the B12 for nervous system regulation. which is cobalamin, which is animal products, and nutritional yeast, which are really good. And of course, processed food, that's something that I recommend parents to not buy so many at home, because when you have so many different varieties in the house, children focus on eating all of them. But if you wanna, transition your kids in and good eating to buy less of processed food, or make choices like say, okay, this week we have, one or two packages of snacks or processed food that the kids like, and next week we try something different. But having 4 or 5 different kinds really is distractive to children, even for adults. I kind of call it like the food talks back to you. And so it's really hard to make a choice to say, oh, would you like to eat an apple, or you want to eat, I don't know, a potato chips? Of course, potato chips is going to win the battle. So also all the artificial additives and preservatives and all the seed oils that are rancid are affects the behavior and the mood of children. And other, effects of the processed foods, of course, refined sugar and carbohydrates can, spike the blood sugar and drop it down. I remember one time I did a PTA talk for the parents at Hillel. That was many years ago. And I showed a screenshot of a brain that is activated with sugar and fat, and a brain that is on cocaine. And sugar and fat really triggers exactly the same area of the brain as cocaine does. So these kind of processed foods do create addiction for children. And so having them around, you have to be really careful, because, it's very hard to win the battle between eating healthy or having the processed foods. And of course, they're nutritionally deficient with vitamins and minerals and fiber. Especially if your kids have constipation, you have to make sure you stay away from these, and also they affect brain function and mood regulation. There's also artificial additives, dyes and food colorings that do affect hyperactivity and attention problems. I talked about this again, the fats, seeds that are rancid, that are reused in the companies. So one of the things I remind parents is that oil is really an expensive commodity in food industry. So if they can use oil many times over, they will, and they clean it up and they reuse it again. The same thing happens in restaurants, because it's really expensive. Oil is very expensive, so they can use it. So when the oil is heated up many different times, it becomes really dysfunctional for human consumption, and it affects our DNA structure. So having these oils that these foods are prepared in, we have to be careful not to have too much of it. I would say, read the labels and be careful with what kind of oils are in these products. And of course, it causes inflammation and anxiety, even causes anxiety and depression. Many studies have shown that. Gut health, it's a big issue now. We see with children and adults. People are having a lot of gut issues, because when you're eating these processed foods, it affects the microbiome, which is the good bacteria in the gut. And your gut is your second brain. Anything that happens in your gut happens in your head. So I've seen it so many times when I work with families and children, when we take all these processed foods out and we introduce fresh, clean food, how children become just a whole different person. So because vegetables, proteins, fermented food like sauerkraut, these things, fermented sauerkraut bread, all these things really contribute in building that microbiome that affects the central nervous system and the brain. And of course, we talked about that they do have addictive properties, the foods that are processed. And so I usually say, occasional consumption of these foods are okay, and if they don't become addictive for the children, it's great. But if it becomes more addictive, you will have negative outcomes, and children mental and emotional well-being is compromised. Okay, some of the wonderful parents always ask me, how do I introduce to my kids like food, like things they don't really like to eat? And I always suggest that children change their taste buds. So if they don't like something at a certain time, it doesn't mean that they don't like it in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks or in a month. So introducing all sorts of food and being a good example for them, it's really one of the best ways that you can introduce all sorts of food to your children. So using, encouraging phrases, making sure if you want to create a great ambiance, maybe a nice music is playing in the background and you create a happy environment, talk about food in a very positive way. We're eating this healthy because we're taking care of our bodies, or, we have to listen to our bodies when we're hungry and feed it the right thing. Let's look at our plate and make sure there's all sorts of different colors on it. Maybe we can look and say, we're tonight, look at all the different colors we have. It looks like a rainbow. You can ask them, so how does this taste, or what flavor are you tasting in this? And you can also talk about, like the protein helps your muscles to be stronger, and the green will make you have more energy tomorrow to play in the playground. And also helping them participate in the food preparation. It's really important. So as far as like processed food versus healthy food, I usually say look at it in 80-20, like 80% healthy food and 20% some of the things that they enjoy eating. So that would be more like sort of a balance, and everything is in moderation, of course. Number 3, creating a schedule and a consistency in good sleep patterns and exercise habits, making sure that outdoors playing, getting dirty, climbing trees, playing in the yard, to boost their immune system, being in the sun. And also it's really important to create a positive relationship with food, with your children. And of course, teaching them all these skills are really, long lasting. And I have to tell you how many patients I see later in life that have bad habits that they have to unravel in order to really truly find their health and be able to function normally in their life. So what the decisions you make in the supermarket are really powerful into what you bring in your home. And if you bring good stuff in the house, there'll be less struggle with trying to get kids to eat healthier foods. So here, this is very interesting. I want to try to play this. This is like a 1-minute trail of, let me see how I can make this work. Let's see, sorry, 1 second. Let's see if I can share my. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Well, I think I need my tech assistant here. 1 second. Let me see, 1 second.
Sabrina, I can share it. I actually just found it.
Oh, you found it? Okay, you can share it.
Yeah, let me try.
Let's see. Switch to that. Are you going to share it, or you want me to share?
I'll share it right here.
She's sharing. Okay.
Hi, I'm Zoe Gong. As a traditional Chinese medicine chef and food therapist, I love using Squarespace to shop.
So at the time that I was doing triathlons and living a healthy lifestyle, I met my husband. He also was very dedicated to healthy living. And we got married and started our family. So we had children and a brand new house, and we both had careers that we loved, and we were both active and physical. And that all came to a screeching halt in August of 2007.
I've seen a rapid decline in children's health in the past 10 to 15 years.
We had 21 chronic diseases in one family.
My youngest daughter started having some GI issues.
We had to rent the nebulizer so often from the pediatrician that she suggested we buy our own, which we did.
And my first boy, he had an allergy to milk and then to nuts. I have had 3 miscarriages. I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer.
Things like cancer don't just happen. They happen for a reason.
So many diseases and disorders in the United States have increased since the introduction of GMOs and Roundup in the food supply in the 1990s.
Kids who can't control themselves, kids who can't transition, kids who can't focus, kids who can't sleep.
A well-respected neurologist said that he would never speak and that he would never have peer relationships or social experiences, potentially not live on his own.
So our son was diagnosed on the autism spectrum when he was 3.
I removed genetically modified food and had kids eat all organic food. No pesticides, no GMOs. And the changes I've seen are remarkable.
When I removed GMOs, 4 months later, his allergies went from a 19 down to a 0.2. He no longer has life-threatening food allergies.
So since we've gone non-GMO organic, our son no longer tests on the autism spectrum, and our daughter no longer has asthma.
Stephen now is an articulate, lovely, straight-A student with many friends, active, plays sports. He participates in a mainstream classroom without any supports, no speech therapy, no articulation disorder, no physical therapy, no occupational therapy. He does all the things other children do with great ease and elegance and grace, and he is perfect.
I am 22 weeks pregnant and I feel fantastic.
As more and more consumers choose non-GMO foods, GMOs are becoming a marketing liability for food companies.
I am 100% confident that the removal of genetically modified foods, glyphosate, and pesticides was the fundamental, the foundation for why we all recovered.
Wow.
All righty. So I wanted to really introduce that to just show you guys that you truly have the power to change the lives of yourselves and your children. And I want to now open it to any questions any of you have.
I'm gonna unmute, or you can unmute yourself.
Oh, wait a minute.
Anyone that wants to ask any questions?
Thank you so much, Sabrina. That was fantastic. Appreciate all your advice. I guess one of my first questions, originally seeing all your slides on, again, a lot of like the vegetables, the greens. I try to do my best to incorporate as much as I can, but I feel like my daughter is a picky eater, what you would call nowadays.
Yes.
So she's like super hesitant to try new foods.
Mhm.
And there's not like a particular even few foods that she really likes that I can try to like necessarily hide the veggies in, which I know like a lot of people try to do. Yeah, there's sometimes like I'll incorporate like spinach in the smoothies. Um, but my main question was in terms of them getting these things at this age. Um, what's your take on giving those through vitamins, for example, as opposed to them getting it from the natural source?
Yes. So with a child like that, I would definitely do start with a vitamin therapy of like, the whole B vitamin protocols and the vitamin D. And once that accumulates in the system, then and also some maybe, even if possible, like, natural yogurt to trigger some good bacteria in their gut. Once you put that into the protocol, the kids become more open, their palates open up because their central nervous system is more relaxed and they're willing to listen to your suggestions. And I've seen that so many times. Like, I've just added few protocols of vitamins and I get pictures from my clients, like my kid is trying this new food that they never tried before, or they're eating more and their palates is so much more open than it used to be. Sometimes these challenges are deficiencies that the children have, and once it's corrected, then the palates open up and then you can introduce and get them more involved in the process, and it works really well. Yeah, that would work fine.
So vitamin, sorry, you said the B complex?
Yeah, I would probably do, and you could do liquid on these because, sometimes kids have gut issues and it doesn't actually break down in the gut properly. So the liquid, like a liquid multivitamin, but really high in or just a B vitamin protocol for liquid and for kids. And also make sure that this mix has good amount of B6 and B12 in it. And then I would do liquid vitamin D plus K, which is basically tasteless. So you can just put it inside the multivitamin you're giving to them and they can take it. You can also get the liquid ones and maybe put it in a little bit of orange juice or whatever juice, grape juice they like. You just dump it in and you give it to them, after their breakfast or before their breakfast, whenever they're open to it. And it's just amazing the difference you see once these vitamins and minerals accumulate in the system. All of a sudden, they're just open to many, many different suggestions that you give them.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying the Mary Ruth Organic Kids Multivitamin Liposomal.
Yes, that one is a good one. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying that.
Yeah, does it have good B6 and B12s in the protocol?
I'm looking now. It says for B6, 18%, or I mean, it was 0.6 milligrams.
Mm-hmm.
Is
So
that good?
you might wanna double dose on that
Separate.
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do a separate,
Maybe a B12, a separate B12.
Okay, a
And
B12
then
and the vitamin D. D plus K.
yeah, B12 or vitamin D plus K.
Okay. And or both or either or.
Yeah, and you can just combine them, you can put them all in like either put it under their tongue or you can have them, just put it in a little bit of a juice and you just say, you take your vitamin and they take their vitamin, something like that.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you
It
so
works.
much.
Of course, my pleasure. And any other questions?
I have a question. Is there like too much of vitamin DK or the B vitamins? Like, is there like you can't give them every day? Is there a certain amount, or like should we be checking with their doctor with blood work if they're even low or they're not, or it's okay to just give it and it doesn't matter?
Well, I would say the B complex protocol is a water soluble vitamin. So whatever the body doesn't use, it gets rid of it. With vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin. Most people, about 89% of people and kids are deficient in vitamin D. And the specific one is cholesterol, which is the one that you really want. And uh, I would tell you probably your kids are deficient in that. So there is no level that you should really worry about, but especially in the winter because they are not outdoors that much or don't get sun as much, you need to give them at least 2,000 international units daily
Okay.
of the vitamin D cholesterol, and make sure there is a K2 or K1 in the formula that because K is like a gatekeeper to the vitamin D. It allows the vitamin D to be absorbed much better in the bloodstream.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Is there a brand that you like that you recommend?
The I think that one of the ladies just mentioned, I think that one is good. It also, I think, kosher wise, people like to use it. There is many different good brands. I'm trying to see what comes to mind.
I also
I have-
use the Child's Life one.
which one?
Child's Life.
Child's Life is good. Yeah, that one is good. And
Whole Foods.
Have you heard of Garden of Life?
Yeah,
Garden
that's really good
You
too.
know, it's interesting. Garden of Life I think was purchased, if I'm not mistaken, by Pfizer. So I would probably and Soligar was also purchased by them last year. Whenever these little smaller companies, like they get bought up by bigger companies, I would say their quality control kind of falls down. And I typically don't recommend people to buy a lot of the vitamins and the minerals on Amazon unless you're getting them, if you're getting it straight from the company or just going into the store and purchasing them, because when these vitamins are not maintained in a proper temperature in the warehouses like Amazon, etc., you lose the quality of the product. So sometimes just going to, I don't know, Whole Foods or Sprouts or specifically a vitamin shop to pick these up, I think that would be the best thing to do. Yeah, and again, when you see if you can find something that stands out, there is a brand that is not coming to mind, but maybe afterward I can send the information to Mushki. Then of a couple of the brands that I would recommend would be good. I'm gonna send a couple examples, like menu examples for like breakfast and lunch and dinners that I'll give to Mushki to print out for you guys to kind of like look at some different ideas that you can make for breakfast that are healthy, for lunch, and for dinner for kids. Another important thing I want to mention is snacking. Like, the snack industry made snacking a normal thing. Typically, you don't want to have the kids do too much snacking. And if they're hungry, maybe just piece of fruit or maybe a little bit of vegetable, because snacking really stop kids from having a proper meal. So you want to be really careful. Sometimes I would get this complaint, my kids don't eat their lunch or their dinners. And I say, like, so what was in their snack bag or their snack? They said, well, it was a cheese and a cracker and a fruit. I said, that's a whole meal for a kid. So of course they're not going to eat another meal. So trying to limit the amount of snacks and really trying to stick with really basic things will allow them to be hungrier at that meal time.
But like, you don't think emotionally, like, I don't know, like I feel like I've tried that, but then yeah, like but then I feel like she still might not eat her food. So I get suckered because I'm like, well, I at least like I want her to eat something, you know?
Yeah.
So I end up like, yeah, putting more snacks. But I feel like they'll see like their other classmates, you know, like having things like maybe like processed foods or snacks that they don't have. And I don't know if like mentally like that affects them, like, oh, why didn't my mom give me, or I don't know, you know?
Mm-hmm. You mean, okay, so the first thing was that, you know, if you don't provide the snacks that she would like to eat, then she wouldn't eat at all, correct? So just the fear of not providing what she wants, you're really giving the control to the child instead of having the control as a parent. So I think it's important for you to sort of like not make these decisions based on being afraid, because if you just sort of like, I used to, you know, do this to my kids. Like if I wanted them to transition out of something they got used to, like that they really liked, and I saw that it's becoming a habit, I just wouldn't buy them. And yes, they would have a little bit of a tantrum, and I would say, well, why don't we try this instead of that? But that lasts maybe a couple of days, and then they will open up to whatever idea you're trying to introduce to them. So you have to just kind of like stand a little strong, or you can transition them, like say, okay, we're going to be eating healthier, so let's go to the store and let's find like a healthier you know, snack that is similar to the other one. You want to like empower
Right,
by helping them make a decision, and then they
right.
will eat it much better versus, you know, when my kids were younger, I used to have step stool all around my kitchen because I would like have them, you know, mushki nose. I homeschooled most of my kids. I mean, they went to school and I also did homeschooling, and I would um I would, you know, have them, okay, wash the tomatoes for me or wash the carrots for me. And I had little tables and chairs, and I would stand with them to teach them how to cut it. And even if the kitchen would be a disaster or a mess, I knew that establishing this foundation for them to participate in their own decisions of making things and eating healthier, it empowers them to make that decision in their future, and standing also strong with the things that I provide in my kitchen. I remember I saw a post, like a big poster somewhere on Pico, and it says, "My kitchen, my rules." So I really like that. And I think every parent should take charge of their kitchen and provide, you know, and empower the children, of course, to help them make better decisions with their food. So not putting the fear into place, but being creative and encouraging to them to make better decision and buying less of the junk, I would say.
Are kids Cliff protein bars healthy, or is that like considered a bad snack?
No, I think all these bars are basically cookies, but in a shape of a triangle. You know, I think the public relation did a fabulous job in promoting bars. You know, as they're basically, when
Full
you
of
look at these,
sugar,
yeah, they're like, if
full
you
of
look at,
added sugar.
they're what?
I was just saying it's full of added sugar.
Yeah, added sugar and additives. And, you know, it's interesting because one of those bars is they range from 160 to 360 calories. Okay. So if I want to provide a meal for a kid, even I would take like a 200-calorie bar. Okay. I can put a cup of pasta, 2 ounces of cheese, half a cup of carrots, uh, um, and half a cup of berries. And all of that is about 200 calories. And it's all shoved in a bar. And you're not getting the same nutrition. So I think, you can give him raw nuts, or I don't know, if you're not in school and you don't have the whole nut situation, you can give him dried fruits. You can give him fresh fruits. Bars, I think, are great as backup plans. Like you're out and about and you get stuck in traffic and your kids are all crying and they're all hungry. You have bars, you give it to them, till you get home. I think they're great as emergency foods, but not as a regular food plan on a weekly basis.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
Shmuel's been having pink eye, so he's been home the past few days. And
Mhm.
I want to know, I know when he was a baby, I used to like put my breast milk on it, and I heard it was supposed to help him. But now that I'm not breastfeeding, do you have any other like vitamins or any like natural remedies that you think could like help just like get rid of the red eye faster?
Yes, of course. Um, Chamomile tea bags are amazing for as a natural remedy. So basically what you do, you take the chamomile tea bag and you put it in hot water or black tea, either one are good, and you let it like kind of sit there for a few minutes, and when it becomes warm, you pour it on a cotton ball and you wash his eyes, and then a new cotton ball and you wash the other eyes. Even though one eyes may be more infected than the other, you want to wash both of them because sometimes they get transferred. And another thing is 50 ppm of colloidal silver, just one drop in each eye. Also gets, you want to get the lower dose of the colloidal silver because colloidal silver has up to 250 ppm. So you want to do like the lighter one, which is 50 ppm, and you can put a drop in each eyes, and that also helps. But also to understand that's really a reaction of a low immune system. So beside just like treating the eye, you want to make sure that you don't have any processed foods. And again, maybe upping his vitamin D to help his immune system fight this,
Would you say
I
that
call it.
also to go off like dairy during this time? Or
No, not necessarily, but off any, like I would get him off gluten for at least for a couple of days, and I would probably make sure he has a lot of like proteins during this time, and that would probably help him a lot. Soups are excellent, chicken soups.
thank you. Oh, awesome. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is really helpful.
Carrot juices also would be great for him. If you can give him carrot juice, that would be great.
Perfect. I'm gonna do it.
Great.
Okay.
Sabrina, I have another question. What do you think about like, so I also try to get my daughter, like she's usually involved every day too in like my cooking process.
Amazing.
But um how do you feel about like, so for example, if I make something and she's not willing to try it, and let's say this is dinner time, so like for example today, I like when she came home I said, okay, you had your snack, this is like your last snack until dinner. So I know she's hungry because she hasn't had a meal yet, right? So then
Mhm.
dinner comes, and if she's not willing to eat that or try that, what do you suggest that I do at that point?
Okay. So I remember this in my graduate program, and my professor would say, what goes in and what comes out of a kid you cannot control. Potty training and what you put. But the way you want to introduce that is that maybe you can sit down with her and create a menu and say, mommy needs your help to create a menu that you like to eat during the week. So let's sit down and look at some recipes and look at some pictures, and we talk about you know, what you like, and she can point, oh, let's try this and that. And so you say, okay, do you want, so Monday we make this, taco night Monday, or Tuesday night, I don't know, chicken teriyaki night, or this. So you create, you know, some of the things that she likes, but she's actually making that decision with you, you know, and then you put that little Monday this on the refrigerator, Tuesday this, set. Sometimes just knowing, kids have food fears. So for kids to just know, okay, this is Monday night taco night, and Tuesday night is da da da, and Wednesday night is the, just knowing that helps them relax around food. So, you know, you have empowered them because they're feeling good that I'm going to make a decision about what we're going to eat that night, right? And at the same time, you're helping them transition to better eating habits. So first, I would also cut down the amount of snacking you're giving to her, or providing these so many opportunities for snacking. Second, you know, having her be part of the decision-making process, and also even taking her to the market with you. Say, okay, you know, we're going to buy some of the ingredients for the stuff we're going to be making. So you look for, we need a lemon, or we need, you know, buy chicken breast or whatever it is. And you give her the list. This is the list of the foods. And okay, let's try to find it in the market. We're in the meat section. These are all the things I did with my kids. I would give them a list and we say, okay, we need to find them. And they loved it. They loved like looking for it and finding it and putting it in a basket. And it really empowers them. And then bringing it in the kitchen, they're looking at a cycle of how food is prepared. And when they participate in the process, they're more willing to eat the food and give it a try. But you don't want to push food on kids. If they don't want to eat, I'm not hungry, I'm not going to eat dinner. Okay, that's fine. Or you can offer them another option. It's either this we made or scrambled egg, for example. So which one do you want? And they can say, okay, scrambled egg. Okay, perfect. That's fine. You want scrambled egg? That's okay. But it's not, you're not a short cook. You know, I remember a parent that came to me, Baruch Hashem, with like 7 kids. And she said every night she prepares a different food for every kid. And she doesn't sit down for 2 hours till every kid is happy with everything that she made. You know, you don't want to get into that position. You want to make sure you're making one meal that everyone is eating, and a second option, maybe a scrambled egg, or I don't know, an almond sandwich, something like that. And if they want to eat almond sandwich for 7 days, that's fine. But you don't try to change things just for them, and they will come around.
Right. Yeah. So that was my question concern is like, if I end up offering her something else because she doesn't want that, like if that's deterring her from trying the new foods because she knows, okay, well, if I don't eat this, mommy's gonna give me something else to eat. Like I ended up just giving her bread and like plain bread and cheese or something because that was, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, well, you don't want to give her what she wants. You want to give her what you are offering as a second choice. So it's either this, or we always will do scrambled egg. No, I want cheese sandwich. Cheese sandwiches are for breakfast. It's not what we do for dinner. But you don't want to just do it at the other end. You need to build this whole cycle of, you know, building a menu with her and taking it to the market and having her experience more part of it, than to just put dinner in front of her and say, you know, do you want to eat this? And she says no, and that, then it becomes more of a battle. But if it becomes more of a choice, it's much easier. But I would also definitely add those vitamins and minerals into her diet to just, you know, help her. She is definitely deficient in those vitamins. That's why it's also a challenge.
Got it. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Um,
Excellent.
I have a quick question. So
Sure.
my daughter, my daughter and my son actually, they both have like these horrible coughs, and they do come from colds, but they kind of linger for months. And I'm starting to think, could it be, their diet or what I'm giving them that triggers it even more? Because I've gone to an allergy doctor, and I've gone to all the doctors. Let's just put it at that, and no one can figure out what it is. But these coughs just linger for months, and they're like chronic coughs. And I'm thinking, is it their diet, or is it their vitamins that I'm not giving them enough? Or because they do eat their proteins. Like my daughter loves chicken and rice, so I can give her chicken and rice every day and she'll be fine with it. She has her handful of fruits that she likes, and I give it to her every day. So from experience, have you seen that, come from
Yes.
food?
Yeah, for sure. Vitamin deficiency and food. So I would probably say, definitely I would. What are their ages?
Well, 4 and 2.
Okay, so I would get the vitamin D drops with vitamin K,
Okay.
and I would probably do a 5,000 international units for at least 10 days and then drop it down to 2,000. Okay, so they have done studies. It's very interesting. Patients who were in the hospital with pneumonia, and they gave them intravenous vitamin D3 plus K, and they recouped out of the hospital the next day. That's how important that vitamin D is with the K. So they are definitely deficient, and every time you become sick, the body uses the vitamin D, cholesterol, in order to heal the body. And if you already walk into it with deficiency, you're just going further and further down, and the immune system just gets worse because it used up what it had, and now it's deficient and it cannot function properly. So I would definitely add the D and the K liquids.
Okay.
And then I would go to more cleaner foods like non-GMO, organic, cleaner foods that their endocrine system is not so heavily compromised with the pesticides and the chemicals in the food.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And my
If you
other go ahead.
Sorry,
Sorry.
and I also would recommend getting a nebulizer.
I
And
have one. It doesn't help really.
mhm.
I've tried everything.
I mean, do you put like saline solution in the nebulizer or?
Um, yes, and then we do sinus rinses. We've done it all. It's just
Okay. Yeah, so then definitely I would do the vitamin D.
okay.
Yeah, for sure. And do that 5,000 international units. You can see like there's the drops that tell you like how many drops is how many international units. And I would just go 5,000 for at least 10 days to 2 weeks. And you will see them quickly like change and get better. And as they get better, then you can drop it to 2,000.
Got it. Okay. So the vitamin
D
D
plus
plus K.
K plus
Okay.
K. K2 would be great.
And then my other question is, so my son is 2. I know it's very common. They like to throw their food, but how do I eliminate it as much as possible? He just likes to throw his food, or he likes to watch it fall down on the floor, and half of it is like on the floor, half of it he's eating, half of it is in his hair. So
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard like take it away and don't give it to him anymore, but then I want him
Yeah.
to eat.
Yeah. So you're putting the food in a plate, or is he eat on a high chair, or is he on a table? How is
High
he
chair.
eat on a high
High
chair?
chair. And then I'll start off with the plate, but then the plate suddenly falls on the floor. So then I put on the tray and see what happens there.
Mhm.
I mean, my daughter used to do it, but not to this extreme. Like he likes to throw it.
Well, it's
Oh, the
different,
same
you
way.
know. It's a boy.
Yes, it's a
Boy
boy.
and noise and boys, they go together. So I wouldn't put a plate on the tray. I would just put finger foods for him to start with because you know, this way he can play with it and he's trying to feel it and he's trying to see and then this way he gets his thing out of it. I would put some finger foods on the tray and I would sit next to him with a bowl and just feed him the important things you want him to have and then leave more finger stuff. And if he throws it, don't give any reaction, you know, don't pick it up and put it back in. Just put enough that if he throws in, you know, you're not responding to it, you're not getting any reaction, but he actually had his actual meal.
Okay, so put some in front of him and then have a bowl that I'm feeding him
Feeding
myself.
him, yeah, just get, you know, the 2-year-olds, they don't eat, just like look at his fist size, right?
Right.
That's his stomach size. So if he can just while he's looking at the food and playing, and you can say, oh yeah, it's green color, it's like long, it's in circles, you know, you're keeping him entertained and you're feeding him the important part of the meal, and the rest just leave it on his tray and let him play with it. And if he wants to throw it, he can throw it, but you're not like having any responses. You're not picking it up and putting it back on his tray. You know, it's not a game. And you just ignore it and you let him do that. And the less he gets that attention, the more it normalizes itself.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, no problem. Any other questions or?
I have one last question. I have
Yes.
a baby that's 16 months old, and I do give him D drops, but I don't give him, it just has vitamin D. It doesn't have the K1 and K2 you said. Can I switch him to giving him that young or no?
Yeah, that's no problem. You could do that. Just finish up what you have and then later, or you can mix it up. Like, you know, one day do the regular D's and one day do the one with the K in it. So you can, you know, have a more of a balance.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. All right.
So
I
if
think
the kids aren't sick, um, the for the D and K, you don't recommend having that every day, or do you?
yes, I do. I do recommend. Yeah,
Do you
because
have
it
like
needs
a
to
okay,
it needs to build up in the system.
okay,
So yeah, it has to be built up in the system, especially for the winter. So the build up has to happen 2 months before we hit the winter season,
uh-huh,
and then when the kids catch the cold, they drop the amount that they have in their bloodstream. They use it up to get better, and then it goes down. So you have to continually give it to them so it goes back to the level that they started when they caught that cold.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay. By any chance, if you do you have or would you be open to giving us like a list or um like it's just something that writes, for example, what are the vitamins that we can give them orally that they should take, like can take every day and like what that can help them with, for example?
Yes. Um, so what I could do, first I'm gonna give Mushki a list of like how you can get it through foods because that's our number
Okay.
one. And
Okay.
then which is kind of list of like what is choices for breakfast, what can you make for breakfast, what are some of the choices for lunch, etc. And
Okay.
then if your kids are challenged, I would do a vitamin remedy for sure, regardless of the diet. And then together they bring the child to the next level. So I can type in something and give it to Mushki. And, you know, I often thought, and I should create like what I call a winter bag for parents. You know, like
Yeah.
these are like the vitamins
I-
you want to start a month or two before you start the winter season. And these
When
are
you
the dosing for different age groups, you know?
right,
And maybe
yeah.
I'll do it. I don't know.
Yes,
We
yeah, it's
can
a
talk
great
for
idea. Sabrina, thank you so much. That was such an informative class. I think we all gained so much
sure.
from just this hour, a little over an hour with you.
Yeah. Yes.
And for everyone that's still on, Sabrina is going to be sharing with me some things that I'm going to pass on to all of you. So I'm very excited. We have some fun things that are coming your way that are going to help you with meal plans and just giving you some ideas. And if you want more, Sabrina is incredible. You could always, I could share with you her email and you could be in touch with her to make a consultation with her to come up with a better plan for your family. But Sabrina, thank you so, so much for tonight. If anyone has any other
My
questions,
pleasure. Yeah, absolutely. I wish you all continued courage and creativity to raise beautiful neshamot and everyone to strengthen the next generation. We need we need them strong physically, spiritually, mentally, because we have a lot of work ahead of us. So get in there, moms, and clean up your kitchens and feed your children well and love them and hug them and enjoy them because it passes very, very fast.
yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, have a
Thank you
wonderful
so
night.
much.
Okay, good night.
Tomorrow. Good night.
Okay, bye. Bye-bye.